Hello and welcome. I'm BluenoseLJ. Should Everton sign Danny Ings? In the last couple of days, it has been reported that Everton are being linked with a possible move for Danny Ings from Southampton. And it's also been reported that Danny Ings has stated that he would like to play Champions League football. So the question here, or there are two questions. Should Everton sign Danny Ings? And could Everton sign Danny Ings? Now, if he wants to play Champions League football this season, then he only has a choice of three clubs if he's going to stay in the Premier League: Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. He's not going to move to Manchester City. They're not going to be signing anybody, a striker in this transfer window. I don't see it. And I really don't see them going for a player like Danny Ings. They're going to go for a much bigger name. They've been linked with a possible move for Lukaku as well in the summer. And I do think that if they buy a striker, it's going to be when Aguero goes in the summer. So I can't see that happening. He's not going to go back to Liverpool, although they could probably do with him right now, seeing that they're not really scoring very much. And the other club, obviously Chelsea, they have a lot of strikers, and I can't see that happening either. So in realistic terms, moving to a Champions League club in the Premier League this season is not going to happen. So it's the potential for Champions League football next season. And Everton are definitely in the hunt for a Champions League spot. Regardless of whether anybody is actually giving us any hope of getting there the next season, the fact is that Everton are sixth in the league. We're only a couple of points off of that Champions League spot behind Liverpool. We have 2 games in hand, and 2 games in hand on a lot of the clubs in front of us. We have Leicester on Wednesday as well. If we win that game, it really opens it up, and there is a real strong possibility that Everton could make it into that Champions League spot next season. So it doesn't matter what anybody else says. The fact is that we are a potential Champions League team for next season. So if he came to us, could he get Champions League football? Well, I think if he came to us, it would push us on again, because we only have Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Tosun at the moment. We've let Sims go out on loan. We've got Keane out on loan as well. So we're quite limited with our strikers at the moment. So he would definitely, I think, become the backup to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But for me, playing Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Danny Ings up front would make sense. The two of them, I think, would form a really, really strong partnership. Obviously, we have Richarlison as well, who can play centre forward, but it's more, he plays off of the left. But he is an option as a striker should anything happen to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And we are left with Tosun. If we are realistically looking to get into the Champions League and something did happen to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I don't see us getting there if we're going to be reliant on Tosun. So we need a striker. There's no question about it. Now, I was a bit when I looked at this and I thought Danny Ings. I was remembering the Danny Ings of the Liverpool days, and maybe I kind of had this thing in my head that he's just not good enough. And he played 14. He was with Liverpool for like nearly 4 years. Although one of those years he went out on loan to Southampton before he signed permanent. He played 14 games for Liverpool. He was injury prone, and he didn't look like a player that was going to be prolific goal scorer. He scored 14 games, 3 goals for Liverpool, and that's the Danny Ings that I remember. But having watched some YouTube of him playing for Southampton and looking at the stats that he's got for Southampton, I mean, he's played 51 times for Southampton since he's signed permanently, and scored 29 goals. Now, that is a really, really good return. And I was thinking, he's not a prolific goal scorer. Actually, he scored 38 goals for Burnley in 122 games, almost, 1 every 3 games. So it's not that bad, actually. It's the Liverpool days that I'm remembering. And he's actually a lot better than what he showed at Liverpool. Now, I would be worried about the injuries, although he seems to have maybe got over that. But 51 games, 29 goals for a striker is a good return. And so, yeah, there is a potential there. He's a goal threat. He's a lot of his goals are um, inside the box. It's I would say, a similar type of goal scorer as Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Um, one little chance that he gets, and he puts the ball in the back of the net. So for me, actually, it makes sense, especially now. If we're looking at a summer purchase, it makes less sense. If we got into the Champions League, we'd probably be able to go out and sign somebody of a bigger name, but maybe unproven in the Premier League. Danny Ings is proven. So there are pluses and minuses, but if we want to get into the Champions League right now, in next season, we need some backup for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, or a potential somebody to play alongside him. And Danny Ings definitely fits that bill. So there's a potential of like 18 million. It's a no-brainer. If there is any possibility of us signing Danny Ings in this transfer window, I think that we should go ahead and do it. We've been linked with Joshua King. £10 million plus for a player that scored like 6 goals since the beginning of last season. Danny Ings scored 22 goals last season. He scored 7 in 13 this season. So if you're talking the goals to money, is a no-brainer. We go for Danny Ings over Joshua King any day. Obviously, there's that Liverpool connection, but so many players have come from Liverpool, or not directly from Liverpool. Some have moved to other clubs and come to us as well. I don't think we should worry about that. Yeah, he wasn't fantastic for Liverpool, and he didn't play that many games for them, to be one of those icons of Liverpool who's going to then come to Everton. 14 games is really, in realistic terms, it's kind of like he didn't even play for them. He didn't really. So I think we can let that go. And if he wants to come to Everton, I would welcome it. And I think that at £18 million, it's a definite go. Now, whether he will come to us or not is another thing. If we're talking about, like I say, Champions League football, Everton really have that possibility. The 3 clubs that are in the Champions League already, I just like to say, I can't see any of those clubs purchasing Danny Ings in this window or in the summer transfer window, and I can't see him going back to Liverpool anyway. So he's kind of left with Chelsea and Manchester City. Or he goes to a club that gets into the Champions League next season. So who's his options? Arsenal. They're not going to get into the Champions League next season. They may get Europa League, but I can't even see that, to be honest, the way they're playing. So Arsenal are kind of out. So that leaves Everton, Tottenham, and Leicester. Tottenham have Harry Kane and Son, who are an absolutely formidable strike partnership. I don't see Danny Ings getting into that to the front 2 there. As a replacement for one of those, if one of them gets injured, then Danny Ings would make sense at Tottenham. They're also linked with a couple of other strikers as well. So Tottenham are definitely a possibility of a place, but I don't think that Ings automatically starts in the Tottenham team with Kane and Son. Leicester, they have a they have Vardy. I know that he's injured and he's out for our game as well on Wednesday, which is good news for us. I don't see it. I don't see him moving to Leicester. I can't see that being a realistic possibility. I think that Vardy and Ings are very similar type of players. I would have loved Vardy a year or two ago. I think he's an awesome player. That's the type of player that we could do with. And Ings is a very similar type of player. So I think that out of all of these clubs, I think Everton and Tottenham are probably the two likeliest clubs that he could go to in the Premier League. So why wouldn't he come to Everton? I think there's Mourinho and there's Ancelotti. Mourinho's won the Champions League. Ancelotti's won the Champions League. If we're talking about managers, obviously, both of them are world-class managers. So I think that's a kind of level playing field. Would he play more games for Everton than he would for Tottenham? I think he does. Do we have a stronger possibility of getting in the Champions League than Tottenham? Arguable. I don't know which out of the two of us. I think we have very similar quality squads. I still think that we're slightly. I don't know if I was going to say that I think we're better than Tottenham. When we have our 11 out, I think we are a better team than Tottenham. We have some injuries, and I think our squad is a little bit thin, and we need some players, a striker being one of them, which obviously Danny Ings resolves part of that. So squad-wise, I think Tottenham have a better squad. Player-wise, in the 11, I think we have a better team than Tottenham. I'm not too sure which one that he would choose between the two. Obviously, he's played for Liverpool, so there's maybe he has that connection to Liverpool and wouldn't want to come to Everton. I don't know. But if we're talking about should Everton sign Danny Ings, I think the answer is yes. Could Everton sign Danny Ings? Again, I think the answer is yes. Whether we will or not is another thing. Whether we will actually sign anyone in this transfer window, we've been linked with a lot of players, but nothing serious is coming out of any of it at the moment. I'm not too sure. Maybe we're going to wait until the summer. But if we want Champions League football, in reality, I think we need a couple of players, and Danny Ings is definitely a potential player that we should be looking at. So I think the answer to both questions is yes. Whether we will is it remains to be seen. Tell me what you think. Do you think that we should sign Danny Ings? Could we sign Danny Ings? Will we sign Danny Ings? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already to be kept up to date with more videos as I post them. And I look forward to seeing you on my next video, which is probably going to be a video on the Leicester City game. And I'll see you then.